Got a caller on the line. We'll move over to them before we get to the end of the segment and see what's on their mind. Caller, you are on the reckoning. What's on your mind?
Hi, good evening. Yeah, with RFK Jr., do you think he'll be able to replicate the same success he had in Samoa as he'll have in the U.S. here?
What success are we talking about in Samoa? You tell me.
Oh, well, in Samoa, he spread enough lies and anti-vax conspiracies to get the vaccine rate down to the point that 80 kids died.
Well,
do you think he could achieve?
Why don't we do this?
Achieve the same things here?
Why don't we do this? Instead of asking sarcastic questions, why don't you give me a point? Tell me something I should be for. Tell me not against RFK, but tell me something I should be for. What do you think about what he is describing with this autism epidemic, as he calls it? What do you think about that? This is something he's wanting to do something about, not go back and relitigate.
Well, I'm for people being in charge of the whole healthcare of the country who have no medical background, who spread conspiracies and are really, really friggin' crazy. I just think that's a recipe for success, don't you, Ryan?
Oh, I think a recipe for success is saying what you mean instead of being sarcastic and cryptic and having nothing else to say. So I'm going to move on. But I do appreciate you calling in. You call me back when you have something real to say instead of just people to complain about. I mean, I say that complaining about Democrats, but at least I'm going to tell the truth on the other side of it that I believe is the truth. So you give me a call some other time. We'll try again. But so far, nothing there. You know what? I've got to tell you, if anyone lived through the COVID era and still thinks that people with quote unquote medical degrees are just experts because, and we should listen to no one else but them, I have a hearty, well, you need to reevaluate your life. Folks, I want people who ask questions and who are looking for the truth. I don't really give two rips who has at this point given them a certification to do so. No one gave a certification or a permission to the founding fathers of this nation to break off from the biggest government in the world, but they did because they knew what was right and they moved that direction. They walked toward it. So I'm not going to hide behind some other nonsense experts or this or that or the way that it was or the system that we had. There can be people who are enamored with that, but not me. And I don't think you are either, because it's pretty easy to look around and say that the way that the world is right now in the United States of America in a lot of regards sucks and needs to change, especially when it comes to these people in charge. The expert culture has to die, and anyone who's slavish enough to it, they have nothing better to talk about. Oh boy, I don't have anything nice to say. So I won't say anything at all. Anyway, we'll try again at some point with this guy, and we'll see if we get a point instead of sarcasm. Thanks for being with us, folks. We'll be back on the other side of the break, and I'll get back to some of the other points and some of the truth things. Truthy things. Oh, boy, we're going to be truthy. Come on back on The Reckoning. You're on The Reckoning. What's on your mind? Hello?
Hello?
Hi there.
Hi. Yeah, I wanted to comment on the prior caller. What a dope. You know, everyone knows the medical community doesn't know anything. People are best off getting their medical advice from Donald Trump, Joe Rogan, and Aaron Rodgers. They know best, right, Ryan?
Hi, and welcome back. How are you? Yeah, of course,
Why
indeed.
Did you call me you called me a Democrat. Why do you think I'm a Democrat?
I don't think I called you a Democrat, although if I did, that I don't remember that. But you know what? Let's disband with that for the moment, because I don't recall it, and it's not necessarily Democrat. I know a lot of people who don't like to necessarily be, straightforward, who are all kinds of other parties too. So what else? Do you have are we here to point, or are we just here to ask rhetorical questions? Because I'm at this point not looking at something that you're saying and seeing a real desire to discuss. You're just going down the sarcasm route.
Well, since you obviously have a difficult time deciphering the sarcasm.
Oh no, I can tell it's sarcasm from the beginning. Tell me what you mean.
So
don't cloak sarcasm.
So here's what I mean. Is it a good idea taking someone who has no expertise, zip, zero, zilch, and put them in charge of the whole health system? Is that a good idea?
Do you think that person is making every single medical decision, or do you think that person is directing an agency or several agencies full of people with vastly more knowledge than just themselves? I mean,
no, he kind of got rid of most of those people already.
No, not really. They've gotten rid of a lot of them, but they haven't fired them all. But let me ask this though:
90 days, In just 90 days, he's turned that department into a revolving door.
Well, you know what? I'm going to call that a good thing. What did you pull out of the COVID era?
Yeah.
Because what I pulled out of the COVID era, no, listen to me for a second. What I pulled out of the COVID era were a lot of people who have medical degrees that were doing things based on bureaucratic decision-making, not their actual Hippocratic oath. That's what I saw, and I have a lot of questions about it, and I'm very glad to have someone in charge who is asking those questions. I don't see bad medical advice being dispensed right now from the head of HHS. I see serious questions being asked that I think a lot of people in the U.S. have questions about. I don't hear them answering them. I hear them asking them, like with the autism or anything else. They're not just giving out information. It seems that they're asking questions. Do you interpret it a different way?
There's only a measles outbreak in Texas. What could go wrong? And just wait till we make polio great again.
How many people have actually died from that? Have you gone into the research beyond just the couple of top headlines?
2 kids have died so far, and there's probably going to be more. But who cares? It's only 2.
And was it? Well, I mean, I'm not going to say only because 2.
It's not 80 like in Samoa.
2 is too many, and yet also we get really fast and loose and flippant with the words outbreak, and now we're into all sorts of scare tactics. But now we're back to COVID, and we're not going to go down that road. But here's the question, though. Right. There is really no question because you don't want to talk. I mean, you've got your points, but.
I hate experts. I like people that don't know much about anything. Isn't that the way to go?
Oh, well, I'll just, I tell you what, since you seem to know most of these things, we'll just hire you and you can run everything. How about that?
Experts are for losers.
No,
experts are for suckers and losers.
Well, no, but experts like to hear themselves talk. Thanks for calling. We're going to scoot on, though. So I tell you what, folks, here's the thing. This guy, by the way, congratulations on having multiple phone numbers. Good for you. That's actually a fun one. People just like the bureaucratic state. This guy likes to be told what to do. I don't know what else to believe. I would ask him that question, except all he'll do is respond with some stupid, sarcastic question in return. But I got to tell you, the expert class has failed us. The expert class has been bought and paid for. Not every single one of them, but in large part they have been. Period. Anyone who obviously knows better than everyone else, obviously knows that we need to hear from all these other people. It's just ludicrous. It really is. And case in point with the guy calling. You're going to have a lot of specific pieces of information. Oh, what about this? What about this? What about this? But there's really no point having a specific conversation because they don't actually want to talk about the points. And just getting through all of that, all of the specifics that they want to argue and nickel and dime over is people who are just in love with the expert class, with bureaucracy being in charge, with being told what to do. You know why? Because freedom is very, very, it's very dangerous and very stressful. And I think there are a lot of people, if I'm being completely honest, who just can't handle it. They don't want to handle it. It's too big. It's too much. So they like being told what to do. I really don't know what else to tell you. And again, if I had anyone serious, anyone else wants to call in who actually agrees with this gentleman, but can do so in a much more pointed conversation, not, sarcastic rhetoric, bring it on. I'd love to know. I'm kind of curious. Because I look at it and say, no, I can tell time after time after time, you're not telling me the truth or being honest, which calls into question almost all of the decisions, which calls into question who's paying for all of these decisions. The more you peel back, the more you see, the more there is to question. And I appreciate people being in charge who are questioning. At this point, if anyone looks at a Donald Trump and says he doesn't know what he's doing, that person is a hack. Check. And frankly, throughout the rest of the medical establishment, if anyone looks at what's been going on in the CDC and HHS, in FDA and all the rest and says this is fine, I think that person is also a hack. Maybe they're blind and willfully ignorant. It's quite possible because some people just like to live in that land. But I don't want to be there, and I don't think you do either. So that's why we ask the questions and talk about things that matter. And that's why we're always going to go after the truth. That's what we do because it's Real Talk Radio. Folks, we'll be right back here on The Reckoning.